Poor mother spends the night sewing a dress for her daughter to go to the school party. The billionaire finds out and does something incredible. The door burst open with a bang. Mia came in like a small, blonde hurricane, backpack on, blue eyes shining in a way that Anna knew well. It was the shine of important news, the kind that couldn't wait another second. "Mummy!" Anna was at the sink, washing the lunch dishes. She turned, drying her hands on her frayed apron. "Hi, sweetie. How was school?" "Mummy, there's going to be a party." Mia threw her backpack on the floor and ran to her. "The teacher said there's going to be an end-of-year party with music and everything." "And you know what else?" Anna knelt, getting down to her daughter's level. "What? All the girls are going to wear pretty dresses." Mia's eyes were so full of expectation, they seemed to light up the entire kitchen. "I want a new dress, Mommy. Can I?" The world stopped for a moment. Anna felt the weight of those words. A new dress. Two simple words that carried an entire universe of impossibilities. She took a deep breath, trying to find the right words, the ones that wouldn't break the sparkle in her daughter's eyes. "Honey." Her voice came out softer than she intended. "Mommy doesn't have money for a new dress right now." The sparkle wavered, just a little. Mia bit her lower lip, the way she always did when she was trying not to cry. "But all the girls are going to be pretty." Anna felt her heart tighten. She pulled her daughter close, hugging that small body that smelled of crayons and the school playground. "Listen to me." She pushed Mia back just enough to look her in the eyes. "We'll figure something out. I promise." "How?" Anna thought quickly. She had a few dollars saved up, the money she set aside for emergencies. It wasn't enough for a ready-made dress, but maybe... "We'll go downtown, together. We'll buy some really pretty fabric, and I'll make a dress for you." "You know how to make a dress," Anna smiled, even without being absolutely sure of the answer. "I'll learn." Downtown was crowded, people everywhere, colorful shop windows, stores with mannequins displaying clothes that cost more than Anna earned in a month. She held Mia's hand tightly as they walked along the sidewalk. "Where are we going, Mummy?" "There's a fabric store up ahead. Let's see what we can find." The store was small, squeezed between a bakery and a pharmacy. Rolls of fabric were piled on the shelves, forming a rainbow of possibilities. Anna went in with Mia, who immediately let go of her hand and ran to the fabrics. "This one. Mommy, this one." It was a light blue fabric, simple, with no shine or elaborate patterns. But the way Mia touched it, with her small fingers stroking the surface, made it seem like the most precious fabric in the world. "You like this one?" "I love it. It looks like the sky." A saleswoman approached, a middle-aged woman with glasses on the tip of her nose. "Can I help you?" "How much is this fabric?" Anna asked, pointing to the blue roll. "So that's one of our cheapest, $3 a yard." Anna did the math in her head. She would need 2 yards, maybe 2.5 to be safe. She had exactly $7 in her wallet. "I'll take 2.5 yards." The saleswoman cut the fabric with a large pair of scissors, measuring carefully. She folded the cloth and handed it to Anna, who paid and left the store with Mia skipping beside her. "Is it going to be pretty, Mommy?" "It's going to be beautiful." "When are you going to make it?" "Tonight." After Mia fell asleep, Anna took the fabric out of the bag and spread it on the kitchen table. The house was silent, only the ticking of the wall clock marking the passage of time. She had an old sewing machine, an heirloom from her grandmother that she kept in the closet. She pulled the machine onto the table, plugged it in, and heard the familiar hum of the motor. The problem was that Anna had never made an entire dress in her life. She had hemmed pants, sewn on buttons, mended tiers. But a whole dress, with straps, a waist, a uniform hem. That was uncharted territory. She took a piece of paper and tried to draw a basic pattern. She measured, remeasured, drew crooked lines. She placed the paper on the fabric, marked it with chalk and cut slowly, afraid of making a mistake. The first piece came out crooked. Anna looked at it and sighed. She undid everything and went back to the beginning. The second attempt was better, but the straps were uneven. One was wider than the other, one higher than the other. She undid it again. The hours passed. Her fingers started to ache. The machine's needle pierced the fabric with mechanical precision, but her hands failed. In a careless move, the needle caught her index finger. Anna pulled her hand back with a muffled cry, watching the drop of blood form on her fingertip. She sucked on the injured finger and continued. She couldn't stop. She wouldn't stop. Outside, the night had already turned into early morning. The house was cold. Anna put on an old sweater over her shirt and went back to the machine. She sewed the front to the back, but when she tried to adjust the straps, she realized she had cut one of them too short. She undid it, tried again. The thread got tangled in the machine. Anna stopped. She looked at the clock. 3:40 in the morning. The fabric lay on the table, cut, partially sewn but far from being a dress. The straps needed adjusting. The hem needed to be done. The sides needed to be closed. There was so much left to do, and she had to wake up in 2 hours to go to work. Her eyes burned. Her hands trembled with exhaustion. Anna looked at the blue fabric she had promised to turn into a dress and felt a lump in her throat. She hadn't done it. She tried. She really tried. But she didn't know enough. She didn't have enough time. And now the fabric was there, cut and useless, further from being a dress than when it was whole on the roll. Anna rested her head on the table and closed her eyes for a moment. Just a moment. She felt the hot tears stream down her face. She had promised Mia, and she had failed. The alarm would go off in a few hours, and she would have to leave for work. She would leave the incomplete fabric on the table, and when Mia woke up and asked about the dress, what would she say? Anna wiped the tears with the back of her hand and looked at the fabric again. Tomorrow. She would try again tomorrow. Maybe she could finish it before the party, maybe, but deep down, she knew she wouldn't have time. She turned off the sewing machine, put away the thread, the chalk, the scissors. She left the cut fabric on the table, a silent proof of a love that hadn't been enough to overcome a lack of skill. She dragged herself to her room and lay down on the bed. 2 blue eyes were watching her from the doorway. "Mommy." Anna turned. Mia was there, in her pajamas, a teddy bear under her arm. "Sweetie, what are you doing awake?" "I heard a noise." Mia came into the room and climbed onto the bed. "Are you crying?" "No, honey. I'm just tired." "Is the dress ready?" Anna pulled her daughter close, hugging that warm little body. "Not yet. But I'm going to make it, okay? I promise." Mia nodded against her chest and closed her eyes. "I know you will, Mommy. You always do everything right." The words cut like a knife. Anna kissed the top of the blonde head and held her daughter until she fell asleep again. When the alarm clock rang 2 hours later, Anna woke up with a heavy body and an even heavier heart. The fabric was still on the kitchen table, incomplete, like a broken promise. Hannah woke up with the alarm clock blaring like a siren inside her head. She reached out her arm, turned off the device, and stared at the ceiling for a few seconds. She had slept for 2 hours, maybe less. Her whole body ached. Her eyes burned as if there was sand in them. But work wouldn't wait, and she couldn't afford to miss a day. She got up slowly, each movement an extra effort. She passed by Mia's room and saw her daughter still sleeping, her blonde hair spread across the pillow, the teddy bear clutched to her chest. Anna closed the door carefully and went to take a shower. The cold water helped a little, but not enough. She put on her work uniform, drank a cup of coffee that was way too strong, and left the house before the sun had fully risen. The bus was crowded, people pushing, the smell of cheap perfume mixed with sweat. Anna rested her head against the window and closed her eyes. Just for a minute. The Walker mansion was on top of a hill, surrounded by impeccable gardens and high walls. Anna had worked there for 3 years as a cleaner, tidying, organizing, keeping every room sparkling. James Walker was the owner, a man in his 40s, with dark hair starting to grey at the temples, always dressed in expensive suits. Polite, but distant. Rich, but lonely. Anna rarely saw him. He left early, came back late, and when they were in the same house, he was just a silent presence behind closed doors. She clocked in at the back entrance and grabbed the cleaning cart from the supply closet. The routine was always the same. Start with the guest rooms on the second floor, go down to the living room, finish with the hallways. But today, every step was heavy. Anna cleaned the first room on autopilot. She wiped the surfaces, changed the sheets, fluffed the pillows. Her eyes burned. The light coming through the windows seemed to pierce straight through her brain. She went down to the ground floor. The main hallway was long, with a marble floor that reflected everything like a mirror. Anna knelt with the bucket beside her, wet the cloth and started to clean. Wipe, wring, wet again, repeat. The movement was mechanical. Her eyes started to feel heavy. She blinked several times, trying to fight off the sleep that insisted on coming. Just a little longer, she thought. Just finish this hallway and then I can rest in the kitchen. But her body had other plans. Anna sat on the floor for a moment. Just to rest her back, she leaned against the wall, the damp cloth still in her hand. She closed her eyes, just for a second. She didn't hear the footsteps approaching. She didn't notice when the figure stopped beside her. She only felt a light hand touch her shoulder. "Anna?" She woke with a start, her heart racing. She looked up and saw James Walker standing there, looking down at her with an expression that mixed surprise and concern. Anna jumped to her feet. The cloth fell onto the wet floor. "Mr. Walker, why are you sleeping at work?" The question was direct. The tone wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't kind either. It was confused. He genuinely wanted to understand. Anna felt panic rise in her throat like boiling water. Her job. She needed this job. She couldn't lose this job. "Please don't fire me." The words came out fast, almost shouted. She clasped her hands in front of her, fingers intertwined tightly. "I swear it won't happen again. James raised his hand, signaling for her to calm down. "Anna, breathe. No one is going to fire you." She took a breath, once, twice. Her hands were still shaking. "Are you all right?" he asked, and this time his voice was softer. Anna nodded, but she knew it was a lie. "Sit here." He pointed to a wooden bench against the hallway wall. "Let's talk." Anna sat on the edge of the bench, her back straight, her hands in her lap. James sat beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "What happened?" "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to fall asleep. I swear." "I know, but why are you so exhausted?" Anna bit her lip. She looked down at her hands, dirty with soap and water. "I was up sewing my daughter's dress." The words came out quietly, almost ashamed. "The party is tomorrow. She asked for a new dress, but I didn't have the money, so I bought some cheap fabric and tried to make it at home." She looked up at him. "But I don't know how to sew properly. I made mistakes several times. I had to undo it and start over. I spent the whole night trying, but..." Her voice broke. "I couldn't finish it." James was silent. Anna waited. She waited for the scolding, the disappointment, the lecture on professional responsibility, but none of that came. "How old is your daughter?" 5. "And you spent the entire night trying to sew a dress for her?" "Yes, sir." He sighed. It wasn't a sigh of impatience. It was something different, almost like understanding. "Oh, you don't have to sew anymore." Anna blinked, confused. "What?" "Bring your daughter here tomorrow. I'll buy the dress." The world tilted slightly. Anna looked at him as if she had misheard. "Sir, a dress for the party." "I'll buy it." "No." The answer came out quickly, almost automatically. "No, I can't accept that." "Why not?" "Because it's not right. You already pay me for my work. I can't ask for more." "You're not asking." James turned to her, his gaze firm but gentle. "I'm offering." Anna shook her head. "Thank you, Mr. Walker, but I'll manage. I still have time." "I can try again tonight." "Anna." He said her name with a patience that caught her off guard. "Look at you, you're exhausted. You nearly passed out in the middle of your work. If you try again tonight, the same thing will happen tomorrow." "I can do it. It doesn't have to be this hard." "But I promised her." Anna's voice was broken now. "I promised I would make the dress, and you tried. You did everything you could." James stood up, adjusting his suit jacket. "Tomorrow, 9 in the morning. Bring her here. We'll go downtown, pick out a pretty dress, and she'll go to her party happy." Anna remained seated, her hands clasped in her lap. "Mr. Walker, I don't want to be a burden." "You're not?" He looked at her. "And it's not a shame to accept help." "But 9 in the morning, Anna. Don't be late." He started to leave, but stopped at the end of the hallway. "And you can go home now. Get some rest. You need it." "But my work?" "I'm giving you the day off." "Go." Anna stood there, not knowing what to do. Part of her wanted to refuse again to keep her dignity intact, but another part, the tired and broken part, just wanted to accept. "Why are you doing this?" James stopped. He stood with his back to her for a moment, hands in his pockets. "Because everyone deserves a little help now and then." And he left. Anna was left alone in the silent hallway, the cleaning cloth still on the marble floor, her heart beating slowly. She looked at her own hands, dirty, hurt, tired, and for the first time in a long time, she felt that maybe she didn't have to carry everything alone. Anna held Mia's hand tightly as they walked through the back gate of the mansion. It was 9 in the morning on the dot. She had thought about arriving earlier but didn't want to seem too eager. She had also thought about arriving later but didn't want to seem disrespectful. 9 in the morning was what they had agreed on. Mia was wearing her old dress, the one with faded polka dots that was already too short. Anna had tied her daughter's blonde hair into a simple ponytail, but a few rebellious strands escaped at the sides. "Mommy, are we really going to buy a dress?" "Yes, sweetie." "A real new dress. A real one." Mia squeezed her hand, her blue eyes shining. The back door opened before Anna could knock. James Walker appeared, dressed more casually than she was used to seeing him. Jeans, a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows, no tie, no jacket. He looked different, younger, maybe, or just more human. "Good morning, Anna." "Good morning, Mr. Walker." James looked down at Mia, who hid a little behind her mother, curious but shy. "And this must be Mia." Anna placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder, gently pushing her forward. "Mia, say hi to Mr. Walker." Mia looked up, meeting his eyes. She was silent for a moment, sizing him up. Then she let go of her mother's hand and took a step forward. "Hi." "Hi, Mia." James smiled. "Your mom told me about the party." "It must be an important party." "It is," Mia nodded seriously. "There's going to be music and everything." "Music is very important." He looked at Anna. "My car is out front. Shall we go?" The car was big and quiet, the kind of car Anna only saw from a distance. Inside, it smelled of new leather and air conditioning. Mia sat in the back seat, her eyes wide, her hands touching the upholstery carefully, as if she were afraid of getting it dirty. Anna sat in the front, her hands in her lap, tense. "Relax," James said as he started the engine. "I'm not going to charge you for the ride." She let out a nervous laugh. "Sorry. I'm not used to this." "I know." They drove down the hill in silence. Mia looked out the window, watching the big houses, the well-kept gardens, the clean streets, so different from the neighborhood where they lived. "Mommy, look at that dog." Anna turned. A golden retriever was running in a yard, chasing a ball. "It's beautiful, isn't it? Can I have a dog one day?" "One day, sweetie?" James looked in the rearview mirror, meeting Mia's eyes. "Do you like dogs?" "I do, but we can't have one because our apartment is small." "That makes sense." He turned a corner. "Dogs need space." "And food," Mia added seriously. "Mommy says dogs eat a lot." Anna felt her cheeks flush. "Mia, but it's true, you said so." James smiled but said nothing. Downtown was bustling, shops open, people walking back and forth, colorful windows competing for attention. James parked on a side street, and the three of them got out. Mia immediately grabbed her mother's hand, her big eyes taking everything in. "Where are we going?" Anna asked. "There's a good shop over there." James pointed to a storefront just ahead. "Let's take a look." They walked slowly. Mia stopped at every window, her nose almost pressed against the glass, observing the mannequins with dresses of all colors. "Look at this one, Mummy." It was a pink dress with bows on the sleeves. "It's pretty." "And this one, a white dress with embroidered flowers. That's pretty too." James walked beside them, hands in his pockets, observing in silence. Anna felt the weight of the situation, A rich man, taking time out of his day to take a cleaner and her daughter to buy a dress. It felt unreal. They reached the store James had mentioned. The window was full of children's dresses, arranged by color, like a rainbow of fabric. "Let's go in," James said, holding the door. Anna entered with Mia. The inside of the store was clean, well lit, with shelves full of clothes and a smiling saleswoman behind the counter. "Good morning. Can I help you? We're looking for a dress for her," James said, pointing to Mia. "Something for a school party." "Of course. How old is she?" "5, Anna answered. "Perfect. We have several styles. Come with me, sweetie." The saleswoman held out her hand to Mia, who looked at her mother for permission. Anna nodded, and Mia let go of her hand to follow the woman. James stood beside Anna, watching as the saleswoman showed them different options. Mia touched the dresses carefully, feeling the fabrics, but didn't seem decided. "How about you pick one and try it on?" the saleswoman suggested. Mia looked at the dresses. She ran her hand over a blue one, a green one, a white one. Then her eyes landed on a yellow dress hanging a little higher. "That one." "Which one?" The saleswoman followed her gaze. "That yellow one." The woman took the dress and held it up in front of Mia. "Good choice. Want to try it on?" Mia looked at Anna. "You can, sweetie." The saleswoman took Mia to the fitting room. Anna waited, her hands clasped in front of her. James stood beside her, silent. "Mr. Walker." "James," he interrupted gently. "You can call me James." Anna blinked. "I don't think I—" "Outside the mansion, at least." He looked at her. "Here, I'm not your boss, just someone helping out." She didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. The fitting room curtain opened. Mia came out, and Anna felt her heart tighten. The yellow dress fit perfectly. It wasn't extravagant. It had no glitter or exaggerated bows. It was simple, but beautiful. The kind of dress a 5-year-old girl would wear and feel special in. Mia twirled, making the skirt spin. "Mommy, look. You look beautiful, sweetie." "It looks like the sun," Mia said, looking down, touching the fabric. "It's yellow like the sun." The saleswoman smiled. "It looks perfect on you." Mia ran to Anna, who knelt to be at her level. "Do you like it, Mommy?" "I like it very much." "Can I get it?" Anna looked at James. He was already taking his wallet out of his pocket. "You can," he said. Mia left the store holding the bag with both hands, as if it were a treasure. Anna walked beside her, trying to find the right words. "Mr. Walker." "James." "James," she corrected, but the word sounded strange coming from her. "Thank you." "Really?" "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do. You had no obligation to do this." He stopped walking. He looked at her. "I know, but I wanted to." Anna held his gaze for a moment. There was something there, something she couldn't name. It wasn't pity, it wasn't superiority. It was something simpler. Kindness, maybe. "I shall be the prettiest girl at the party," James said, looking at Mia, who was walking a few steps ahead. "She will," Anna agreed, her voice low. They returned to the car in silence. Mia couldn't stop talking about the dress, about the party, about how she was going to show her friends. James drove back to their neighborhood. When they stopped in front of the small ham-worn-down building where Anna lived, Mia turned in the back seat. "Thank you, Mr. Walker." "You're welcome, Mia." "You're nice," James smiled. "You too." Anna got out of the car with her daughter. Before closing the door, she looked at him one last time. "Thank you, really?" He just nodded. Inside, Mia took the dress out of the bag and put it on immediately. Anna helped with the zipper on the back, adjusted the straps, and took a step back. "There's going to be music, food, and games." Mia twirled around the living room, her arms outstretched. "The teacher said so." "It's going to be lovely, sweetie." Mia stopped twirling and looked at her mother. "Mommy?" "Yes." "Can Mr. Walker come to the party?" Anna blinked. "Mia, he's a very busy person. He can't—" "But he was nice. And he bought my dress." Mia clasped her hands, making that face Anna couldn't refuse. "Please, honey, he won't want to go to a school party." But we can ask. Anna sighed. She knew Mia wouldn't give up. We can ask. But if he says no, you can't be upset, okay? Okay. The next day, Anna went back to work. She cleaned the rooms, mopped the hallways, organized the kitchen. In the middle of the afternoon, she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. James appeared, jacket over his arm, tie loosened. Anna, Mr. Walker. He smiled slightly upon hearing the formal address again. How's Mia? Good. She hasn't stopped talking about the dress. I'm glad. Anna took a deep breath. It was now or never. Mr. Walker, Mia. She wanted to ask you something. James raised an eyebrow. An invitation? To the school party? Anna spoke quickly, as if that would make it less awkward. She wanted to know if you could go. But I understand if you can't, of course. I know you have important things to do, and... What day is it? Anna paused. Friday, at 3 in the afternoon. James thought for a moment, then he nodded. Yes, I can go. Sir? Friday, 3 in the afternoon, I'll be there. Anna was speechless. He hadn't hesitated. He hadn't made excuses. He just accepted. Are you sure? I am. James picked up his car keys from the table. Send me the address. But, Anna. He looked at her, and this time there was something different in his eyes, something softer. She invited me, and I want to go. Anna felt a lump in her throat. Thank you. See you Friday, then. See you Friday. He left, and Anna stood in the empty living room, still processing what had just happened. A billionaire was going to a 5-year-old school party because she had invited him, and because, somehow, he had wanted to say yes. The school gym was small and simple, with a painted concrete floor and walls decorated with children's drawings. Someone had hung colorful streamers from the ceiling, forming lines that went from one side to the other. There were balloons tied to chairs, tables with paper tablecloths, and a stereo playing children's music a little too loudly. Anna was near the punch table, watching Mia play with the other girls. The yellow dress spun every time she twirled, and her blonde hair bounced on her shoulders. She was happy, completely happy, and that was all that mattered. The other mothers chatted in small groups, laughing, taking pictures, adjusting bows in their daughters' hair. Anna didn't get too close. She never did. Not because she was unfriendly, but because there was always an invisible distance between her and the others. They had husbands, their own cars, houses with backyards. Anna had a small apartment and overdue bills. Not that the other mothers were mean, they just lived in different worlds. Anna got a cup of punch and watched. Mia's teacher was organizing a game, something with chairs and music. The children ran back and forth, shouting, laughing, tripping over each other. She looked at the clock on the wall. 3:20. He wasn't coming. Of course not. Something must have come up. An important meeting. Something that men like James Walker did that was more relevant than a school party. And that was fine. Mia wouldn't even notice. She was too busy having fun. Anna took a sip of her punch and turned to put the cup on the table. That's when she heard it. Mommy! Mommy, look! She turned. Mia was pointing to the gym door, jumping, waving both hands. Anna followed her daughter's gaze. James Walker was standing in the doorway. He was wearing jeans and a light blue shirt. No tie, no jacket. He looked out of place there among the childish decorations and the juice-stained floor, but he was there, and he was holding a bouquet of flowers. It was nothing extravagant, just a simple bouquet with sunflowers and some white daisies wrapped in brown paper. Mia left her friends and ran towards him, her shoes tapping on the concrete floor. You came! James knelt, getting down to her level. I promised, didn't I? Mia threw her arms around his neck in a tight hug. James seemed surprised for a second, but then he smiled and carefully returned the hug. Anna stood where she was, the forgotten cup of punch in her hand, just watching. He had come. He had really come. Mia pulled James by the hand, dragging him into the gym. Come on, come meet my friends. James let himself be dragged, holding the bouquet in his other hand. He passed by Anna, and for a moment their eyes met. He gave a slight, almost shy nod. Hannah just nodded back, unable to find words. Mia introduced James to all the girls in her group. He greeted each one, asked their names, complimented their dresses. He wasn't in a hurry. He didn't look at his watch. He didn't seem to be anywhere else mentally. He was there, completely present. Anna approached slowly, still processing. "Mr. Walker." He turned. "Anna." He held the bouquet out to her. "I brought this for you." She blinked. "For me. For both of you. But I thought you should hold it." Anna took the bouquet, feeling the light weight of the flowers, the gentle scent of the sunflowers. "Thank you, you didn't have to." "I know." Mia pulled on James's sleeve. "Come see the game." "Come on." He looked at Anna, as if asking for permission. She smiled, gesturing with her head. "Go on." James let himself be dragged again. The other children had already noticed there was someone new, and soon a group formed around him. He answered questions, listened to stories, laughed at jokes that only made sense to a 5-year-old. Hannah watched it all from a distance. There was something strange about the scene, something that didn't fit. A rich man, in expensive suits and an imported car, crouching on the floor of an old gym, talking to children about dinosaurs and cartoons. But at the same time, it fit perfectly. One of the mothers approached Anna, curious. "Who is he?" Anna hesitated. "A friend." "A friend?" The woman raised an eyebrow. "Looks like more than that." "It's not." The woman looked at James again, clearly unconvinced. "Lucky you, then." She walked away before Anna could respond. The teacher announced that a performance was about to begin. The children had rehearsed a song, and now it was time to show their parents. Mia ran to Anna. "Mommy, come, you too, Mr. Walker!" They were led to the front where chairs were arranged in rows. Anna sat, and James sat next to her, keeping a respectful distance. The children got up on the small, makeshift stage. Mia was in the middle, smiling, waving at Anna and James. The music started. It was a simple song, about friendship and joy, with gestures the children made as they sang. Some forgot the words. Others did the wrong gestures. Mia sang too loudly, off-key, but happy. Anna felt her eyes burn. She held the bouquet tighter, as if she needed something solid to hold on to. James was beside her, watching in silence. But when Anna glanced over, she saw that he was smiling. It wasn't a polite or forced smile. It was genuine. The song ended. The parents applauded. The children ran down from the stage, and Mia went straight to Anna. "Did I do good, Mommy?" "You were perfect, sweetie." Mia turned to James. "And you, Mr. Walker?" "Did I do good?" "You were the best," he said seriously. "Without a doubt." Mia smiled so wide Anna thought her face would split in two. The party continued. There was cake. There was dancing. There were games. James stayed the whole time. He didn't leave early, didn't make an excuse, didn't look at his phone every 5 minutes. He stayed. Anna watched him from time to time, trying to understand, trying to fit this man into the image she had of him. The distant boss, the busy billionaire, the owner of the mansion on the hill. But that image was cracking, because the man she saw now was not distant. He was not unreachable. He was just someone who had chosen to be there, at a simple party, with noisy children and paper decorations, and that changed everything. When the party ended, the mothers began to gather their things, the children ran around tiredly, and the gym slowly emptied. Mia was in Anna's arms, half asleep, her face resting on her mother's shoulder. The yellow dress was wrinkled, and there was a chocolate stain on the hem. James appeared beside them. "Want a ride?" Anna was about to refuse. She always refused, but she was tired. Mia was heavy in her arms, and he was offering so naturally that it felt wrong to say no. "Yes, please." They walked to the car in silence. James opened the back door, and Anna placed Mia on the seat. The girl murmured something unintelligible and curled up, falling asleep again. Anna sat in the front. James started the engine and drove slowly, unhurriedly. "Thank you for coming," Anna said after a few minutes. "I wanted to come. Still, I know you have more important things to do." James didn't answer right away. He stared at the road, his hands on the steering wheel. "You know, Anna," he began slowly, "I have meetings. I have contracts. I have people waiting for decisions all the time." He paused. "But none of that makes me feel present, you know? It's all so automatic." He glanced at her. "Today I felt present." Anna didn't know what to say, so she just remained silent, looking out the window, holding the bouquet of sunflowers in her lap. When they arrived at her building, James helped carry Mia to the apartment. He placed the girl on the bed carefully, and Anna covered her with the sheet. They returned to the door, and Anna held the doorknob, hesitant. "James," he stopped. "Thank you for everything." He smiled. "You're welcome." And he left. Anna closed the door slowly and leaned against it, the bouquet still in her hand. Something had changed. She didn't know exactly what, but it had changed. Anna arrived at the mansion the following Monday with a heavy heart. She didn't know what to say, or if she should say anything at all. But the feeling of gratitude was too big to keep inside. She clocked in, got the cleaning cart, and started her routine. Guest rooms first, then the living room, then the hallways. Everything as usual, but it wasn't as usual. Every time she passed a window and saw the garden outside, she remembered James sitting in the gym, listening to Mia sing. Every time she cleaned a marble surface, she remembered him holding the bouquet of sunflowers at the party entrance. She couldn't get it out of her head. Around 10 in the morning, she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. Anna was in the living room, arranging the sofa cushions. She turned and saw James appear, tie already in place, jacket over his arm. He stopped when he saw her. "Good morning, Anna." "Good morning, Mr. Walker." They stood there for a moment, looking at each other. Anna held a cushion in her hands, not knowing where to put it. "Mr. Walker, Can I talk to you?" "Just for a minute." James placed his jacket on the back of a chair, height of course. Anna dropped the cushion on the sofa and took a deep breath. The words were all jumbled in her head, and she needed to put them in order before she spoke. "I wanted to thank you again for the party, for going. You already thanked me, Anna." "I know. But thank you doesn't seem like enough." She looked at her hands. Mia spent the whole weekend talking about it. About the dress, about the party, about you being there. She wouldn't stop. Anna looked up, and this time there was something different in her eyes, something deeper. She felt like the other girls. The words came out low, almost a whisper. But they carried an enormous weight. James was silent. He didn't answer immediately. He just looked at her, processing what he had just heard. "Like the other girls," he repeated slowly. "Yes." Anna nodded. "She's always been different, always been the girl without a father, the girl with old clothes, the girl who doesn't have the same things as the others. And she knows it. Even though she's little, she knows." Anna's voice cracked a little, but she continued. "But at the party, with the new dress, with you there, she felt the same. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel less than anyone." James looked away, as if that was hard to hear. He walked to the window and stared outside, hands in his pockets. "Anna, I know you don't have to care about this. I know we're not your responsibility. But you did more for her than anyone else has ever done, and I needed you to know that." He turned to her. "You were the one who did that." Anna blinked. "What?" "You." James took a step toward her. "I just bought a dress and showed up at a party. But you're the one who wakes up every day and makes her feel loved. You're the one who works until you're exhausted to give her what you can. You're the one who tried to sew a dress all night without knowing how." He stopped in front of her, his gaze firm but gentle. "I just helped a little. The rest was all you." Anna felt a lump in her throat. She tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out, so she just shook her head as if disagreeing. "That's not true. If it weren't for you, Anna, she wouldn't have a mother who moves mountains for her," James interrupted gently. "That's worth more than any dress." She swallowed hard. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. So she did neither, just stood there, holding on to those words as if they were something precious. "Thank you," was all she could manage to say. "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do." James smiled slightly. He picked up his jacket from the back of the chair and put it on, adjusting the shoulders. "How is she?" "Good." She's already asked to sleep in the dresser, but I told her she couldn't. He chuckled. Makes sense. Anna went back to the sofa, picked up the cushion she had dropped, and put it in its place. James watched for a moment. Anna, she looked at him. If you ever need anything, you can talk to me. You don't have to wait until you're at your breaking point. She nodded, but she knew she wouldn't do that. Asking for help was never easy. Asking once had been hard enough, but it was good to know the offer was there. James picked up his car keys from the table. I'm heading out. Call me if you need anything. Okay. He walked to the door but stopped before leaving. Anna? Yes? I enjoyed going to the party. She smiled. Mia enjoyed you being there too. Then it was worth it. And he left. Anna was left alone in the room, the sound of the door closing echoing in the silence. She looked around, at the expensive furniture, the clean walls, the floor that reflected the light. That house had always seemed too big, too empty. But now somehow it felt a little less cold. Maybe because now she saw the person who lived there, not just a distant boss, not just a rich man, but someone who had chosen to show up. Someone who had held a bouquet of sunflowers and watched children sing off-key. Someone who somehow had cared. Anna went back to work, but something had changed inside her. It wasn't love. Not yet. Maybe it never would be, but it was respect. It was recognition. It was the seed of something she couldn't name, and that, for now, was enough. When Anna got home that night, Mia was drawing at the kitchen table. Colored pencils were scattered everywhere, paper covered in colorful lines. What are you drawing, sweetie? Mia held up the paper. Mr. Walker. Anna moved closer. The drawing was simple, like any child's drawing. A stick figure with black hair, holding yellow flowers. Next to him, another, smaller stick figure in a yellow dress. It's beautiful. Can I give it to him? Anna hesitated. You can. I'll take it tomorrow. Mia smiled and went back to drawing, adding details that only she understood. Anna watched her daughter, her heart calm for the first time in weeks. Maybe the world wasn't as heavy as it seemed. Maybe there were good people out there, willing to help without expecting anything in return. And maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to carry everything alone all the time. It was a small, almost timid thought, but it was there, and it was real. It was Friday, and Anna had finished work early. James had been away on business during the week, and the house was empty, quiet, easier to clean without anyone around. She was putting the cleaning supplies away in the closet when she heard the back door open. She turned and saw Mia come in, backpack on, smiling. Mia, what are you doing here? Grandma brought me. She said she could pick me up from school and drop me off here. Anna's mother lived nearby and sometimes helped with Mia when she could. It was rare, but it happened. Okay, sweetie, let me just finish up here and we'll go home. Mia dropped her backpack on the floor and ran off to explore. Anna finished putting things away and was closing the closet when she heard the sound of a car arriving. She went outside and saw James's car parking in front of the garage. He got out, tie loosened, jacket tossed in the back seat. Anna, I didn't know you were still here. I'm just leaving. Just came to pick up Mia. Just then, Mia came running from the garden, her blonde hair flying. Mr. Walker! James smiled when he saw her. Hi, Mia. She stopped in front of him, her blue eyes shining in that way Anna knew well. The way that meant Mia was about to ask for something. Mr. Walker, Mommy is making dinner tonight. Can you come? Anna felt her face flush immediately. Mia, what? We are making dinner. But you can't just invite people like that. Mia looked at her mother, confused. Why not? Because you can't. James was watching the scene with a restrained smile. Anna turned to him, embarrassed. I'm sorry, Mr. Walker. She doesn't understand yet. I'd love to. Anna stopped mid-sentence. What? Dinner. I'd love to come. No, Mr. Walker, you don't have to. I know it was just a kid thing and... Anna, he interrupted gently. I want to come. Really. She was speechless. Mia jumped up and down, celebrating. Yay! See, Mommy. He's coming. Anna looked from Mia to James, still trying to process. But It's just a simple dinner. Nothing fancy. The apartment is small and... That's no problem. James put his hands in his pockets. What time? Anna sighed. She knew there was no turning back now. 7 o'clock. Perfect. Send me the address. You know where I live. You dropped me off there after the party. That's right. He smiled. See you at 7 or then. Anna spent the entire afternoon cleaning the apartment. She swept, mopped, organized the living room, fluffed the cushions on the old sofa. Mia helped in her own way, getting in the way more than helping, but with good intentions. Mommy, what are we making for dinner? Anna opened the fridge and looked at what she had. It wasn't much. Chicken, potatoes, some vegetables, rice. Roast chicken with potatoes and rice. Can we make a cake? Mia, there's no time to make a cake. Please, I'll help. Anna looked at the clock, 5:30. There was time, if she was quick. Okay. But you're going to do exactly as I say, no messes. I promise. At 7 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rang. Anna wiped her hands on her apron, took a deep breath, and went to open the door. James was there, still in his work clothes, but without a tie. He was holding a bottle of wine. Hi. Come in. He entered, looking around. The apartment was small. An integrated living room and kitchen, 2 tiny bedrooms, a cramped bathroom. Nothing compared to the mansion where he lived, but it was clean, organized, and it smelled like home cooking. I brought wine. I didn't know if you drank, but... Thank you. Anna took the bottle. You can sit down. Dinner's almost ready. James sat on the sofa. Mia came running from her room, wearing the yellow dress. Mr. Walker, you came. I did, and you look pretty again. I wanted to wear the dress for you to see. It looks perfect. Anna put the wine bottle on the table and went back to the kitchen. She took the chicken out of the oven, seasoned the rice, and arranged everything on simple platters. She didn't have nice dishes. She didn't have cloth napkins, but she had food made with care. It's ready. Come on, Mia. They sat at the small table, James at the head, Anna on one side, Mia on the other. There was no extra space. Anna served the plates. James picked up his fork and tried the chicken. This is very good. Thank you. Seriously. It's been a while since I've had a real home-cooked meal. Anna looked at him, surprised. You don't cook? No, I usually order takeout or eat out. Every day. Every day. She shook her head. That can't be healthy. James laughed. Probably not. Mia was eating her potatoes but stopped to look at him. Mr. Walker, do you live alone? I do. There's no one in your house. No one. Just me. It must be very quiet. James looked at Mia for a moment, as if he were really thinking about the answer. It is very quiet. I don't like quiet, Mia said, going back to her food. I like it when there's noise. When Mommy is singing or when we're talking. I like that too, James said softly. Anna watched the exchange in silence. There was something there, something she hadn't expected, a sadness hidden behind his words. After dinner, Mia brought out the cake. It was small, a little lopsided, with uneven frosting. She had made it herself, with Anna supervising, and she was proud. I made it. James looked at the cake as if it were the most impressive thing in the world. You made it yourself. Mommy helped a little, but I mixed everything. So, you're a chef now? Mia smiled so wide Anna thought her face would split. They ate the cake. It was good. Not perfect, but good. And James ate every piece, praising it, making Mia laugh. Anna watched it all from a distance, a strange feeling growing inside her. It wasn't discomfort. It was something different, something warm, belonging, maybe. As if that small table, that simple food, that moment was exactly what everyone there needed. After they finished, Anna took the plates to the sink. James offered to help, but she refused. You're a guest, sit down. I help at home. Your home doesn't count. Here, you're a guest. He smiled and went back to the living room. Mia had turned on the TV and was watching a cartoon, sitting on the floor, her back to the sofa. James sat and watched. Mia turned around every now and then to comment on something in the cartoon, and he would respond, even without really understanding what was happening on the screen. Anna finished washing the dishes and dried her hands. When she returned to the living room, she found Mia lying on the sofa, her head in James's lap, already asleep. James looked at Anna, not quite sure what to do. She fell asleep. Let me take her to bed. Anna carefully picked Mia up and carried her to the bedroom. She tucked her daughter in, kissed her forehead, and turned off the light. When she came back, James was standing looking out the living room window. "Want some air?" Anna asked. "There's a small balcony over there." "Sure." They went out onto the balcony. It was tiny, barely fitting 2 plastic chairs, but you could see the street, the lights of the surrounding buildings, the movement of the city below. Anna sat in one chair, James sat in the other. They were silent for a while. It wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was peaceful, calm. "Thanks for dinner," James said, looking ahead. "Thanks for coming." "I enjoyed it, really." Anna looked at him. "Why?" He took a moment to answer. "Because it's been a long time since I felt part of something." The words came out quietly, almost a confession. Anna said nothing. She just waited. James took a deep breath. "My life is full of people. Meetings, events, business dinners, but at the end of the day, when I come home, everything is empty, always empty." He turned to her. "Tonight, I felt at home." Anna felt a lump in her throat. She didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. They fell silent again. It was James who broke the silence this time. "Can I ask you a question?" "You can." "What about Mia's father?" Anna tensed. She wasn't expecting that question, but James had been honest with her, so she should do the same. "He left me when I was pregnant." The words came out simply, directly, no beating around the bush. James turned completely towards her now, listening. "We dated for 2 years. When I found out I was pregnant, I told him I thought he would be happy, or at least that he would stay with me." She looked at her hands. "But he just said he didn't want it, that he wasn't ready, that it would ruin his life." Anna took a deep breath. He left, never came back, never asked about Mia, not once. "Anna, I was left with a lot of debt. I had to quit my job because the pregnancy was complicated. I lost the apartment where I lived. I had to move back in with my mother, who barely had room for me." She looked up. "But I never gave up. I never thought about giving up, because Mia was mine, and I was going to take care of her no matter what." James was silent. There was no pity in his eyes. There was respect. "You're stronger than you think." "I'm not strong. I just do what needs to be done." "That is being strong, Anna." She gave a faint smile. "Sometimes it doesn't feel like it." James leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "You know, it's good to have real friends, someone to talk to, someone who listens without judging." Anna looked at him. "Are we friends now?" He smiled. "I think so." "Friends who live in completely different worlds?" "Maybe, but friends nonetheless." Anna nodded, and for the first time in a long time, she felt she wasn't alone, not romantically, not yet, maybe never. But there was a connection there, something real, something that went beyond boss and employee. Friendship. Simple. Honest. True. "Do you have friends?" Anna asked. James took a moment to answer. "I have acquaintances. I have partners. I have people who show up at parties and dinners." He looked at her. "But real friends? No, I don't." "Why not?" "Because when you have money, you never know if people like you or what you can give them." Anna understood. In a strange way, she understood perfectly. "I don't want anything from you," she said sincerely. "I know. So we can be friends." James smiled. "We can." They stayed on the balcony for another hour, talking about small things, about music, about books, about life. Nothing deep, nothing urgent, just conversation. And when James finally got up to leave, Anna walked him to the door. "Thanks again," he said. Come back whenever you want. I will. And Anna believed him. She closed the door slowly and leaned against it, her heart calm. She had a new friend, and maybe, just maybe, so did he. The following weeks brought a subtle change, almost imperceptible at first. James started showing up more, not in an invasive way, not in an exaggerated way, but he was there, present, in a way that felt natural. The first time, it was a Saturday afternoon. Anna was trying to fix the kitchen faucet that had been dripping for weeks. Mia was playing in the living room when the doorbell rang. "I'll get it!" Mia shouted, running to the door. Anna came out of the kitchen, her hands wet, and found James standing in the doorway holding a toolbox. "Hi." "Hi." Anna looked from the box to him. "What are you doing here?" "You mentioned the faucet was dripping. I brought tools." "James, you don't have to—" "I know. But I'm here." He walked in without waiting for an answer, went straight to the kitchen and opened the box. Anna stood there, still processing. "Mr. Walker came to fix it." Mia appeared beside him, curious. "Yep. Let's see if I remember how to do this." Mia sat on the floor watching his every move. James worked in silence, taking the faucet apart, replacing the washer, tightening the screws again. Anna stood in the kitchen doorway, watching. There was something strange about the scene. A rich man, in a suit and an imported car, crouching on the floor of her apartment, fixing an old faucet. But at the same time, it seemed perfectly normal. "Done." James turned off the main valve and then turned it back on. The faucet no longer dripped. "Fixed." "Thank you." "You're welcome." He put away his tools, washed his hands, and left shortly after. He didn't stay for coffee. He didn't wait for extra thanks, he just fixed it and left. Anna stared at the faucet for a while, working, not dripping. And she hadn't needed to ask twice. The following week, James showed up again. This time, he brought books for Mia, 3 children's books, colorful, with stories about animals and adventures. I saw them in a bookstore and thought of her. Mia took the books, her eyes shining. "For me. For you." She hugged the books to her chest and ran to her room, already flipping through the pages. Anna stood at the door, her arms crossed. "You don't have to keep bringing things." "I know." "Then why do you?" James put his hands in his pockets. "Because I want to." There was no excuse, no elaborate explanation, just the simple truth. Anna didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. Another day, it was a ride. Anna was waiting for the bus in the rain when James's car pulled up in front of her. He rolled down the window. "Get in." "I'm going home." "I know. Get in." Anna got in. The car was warm, dry, and she realized how soaked she was. "Say sorry for getting the seat wet." "It's fine." They drove in silence for a few minutes. The rain hit the windshield, creating a rhythmic and comfortable sound. "You're always around when I need you," Anna said, looking out the window. "Coincidence?" "It doesn't seem like it." James smiled but didn't answer. When they stopped in front of her building, Anna hesitated before getting out. "Thank you again." "You're welcome. Again." She got out and ran inside. When she looked out her apartment window, the car was still there, waiting until she was safely inside. Only then did he drive away. The visits became routine. Not every day, sometimes once a week, sometimes twice. But he always showed up. He brought small treats, a chocolate for Mia, a coffee that Anna liked, a plant for the balcony because she had mentioned wanting more greenery around. Little things, small gestures, but they meant so much. Anna started to realize she looked forward to these visits, not anxiously but calmly. Like when you know something good is going to happen, without being in a hurry. Mia also started asking about him. "Is Mr. Walker coming today?" "I don't know, sweetie." "He could come. I wanted to show him my drawing." And when he did show up, Mia would run to him as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She would show him drawings, tell him stories from school, ask him to play. And James always stopped, always listened, always played. Anna watched from a distance, and something inside her began to change. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't dramatic. It was like a plant growing slowly. You don't see the growth happening, but one day you look and realize it's bigger. One night, after Mia was asleep, Anna was alone on the balcony. James had left earlier, after having dinner with them. It had become a habit now. He would show up, they'd have dinner, talk, and he would leave. Simple. Comfortable. Anna looked at the plant he had brought. It was growing well, its leaves green and healthy. She thought about the fixed faucet, the books on Mia's shelf, the rides, the dinners. She thought about how the house seemed lighter when he was there, and suddenly she realized something that scared her a little. She liked him, not as a boss, not just as a friend. She liked him. The way he talked to Mia, the way he listened without judging, the way he showed up without fuss, fixed things, brought small gifts, smiled from the corner of his mouth. She liked the way he made her feel seen, valued, important. Anna took a deep breath. This couldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening. They were from different worlds. He was rich, successful, could have any woman he wanted. And she was a single mother, a cleaner, full of debts and responsibilities. It didn't make sense. But the heart doesn't care much for sense. James was feeling something too. He couldn't quite name it. He didn't have experience with this sort of thing. But he noticed he thought about Anna and Mia more than he should. When he was in the empty mansion, he thought of the small apartment full of life. When he had lunch alone, he thought of the simple dinners at the cramped table. When he saw something interesting, he thought about buying it for Mia. His house, which had always been just a place to sleep, now seemed too lonely. He would walk through huge and silent rooms and think of the sound of Mia running through the living room. He would sit on the expensive leather sofa and remember the old sofa where they cuddled to watch cartoons. It was getting hard not to notice. It was getting hard not to admit. He liked being with them. He liked being part of that little world. And maybe he liked Anna more than he should. The way she took care of Mia with such dedication, the way she worked without complaining, the way she smiled when he showed up, that small but genuine smile, the way she never asked for anything but accepted help with a silent gratitude that took him apart inside. James was driving back home after another dinner when he realized he was smiling. For no reason, just smiling. And he knew he had a problem, because this was no longer just friendship. It was something more, something that was growing slowly, in the small gestures, the little visits, the discreet smiles, enchantment. Simple, silent, inevitable. And as terrifying as it was beautiful, Anna was washing the dishes when Mia appeared beside her. "Mommy." "Yes, sweetie?" "Do you like Mr. Walker?" Anna almost dropped the plate. "What? Do you like him? Really like him?" Anna dried her hands, trying to buy time. "Why are you asking that?" "Because you smile differently when he's here." Anna was speechless. How did a 5-year-old notice these things? "He's our friend, Mia." "I know. But do you like him more than a friend?" Anna knelt, getting to her daughter's level. "Why is this important to you?" Mia shrugged. "Because I like him. And I wish he would stay forever." The words hit Anna in the chest. "Sweetie, things aren't that simple." "Why not?" Because they're not." Mia looked at her with those huge blue eyes. "But if you like him and he likes you, can't you be together?" Anna had no answer, because the truth was she didn't know if he liked her. She knew he liked being with them. She knew he cared, but that was different from really liking someone. "We'll see, okay?" Anna said, kissing her daughter's forehead. "Now go brush your teeth." Mia ran off. Anna was left alone in the kitchen, her heart tight. The enchantment was growing, slowly, silently, and she didn't know if she had the courage to let it grow any further. James was in his office at the mansion, staring at the computer screen. It was almost 11 at night, and he hadn't been able to concentrate on anything all day. He was thinking about Anna, about the conversations they'd had, the things she'd told him, about the debts that remained after Mia's father left, about how she was still making payments, even years later. about how every month was a struggle to make ends meet. She had never asked for help. She had never hinted at anything. She had just told him when he asked, with that quiet honesty that was her trademark. And now James couldn't stop thinking about it. He had money. Money he didn't even use. Money sitting in accounts, investments, applications. Money that made no difference in his life but could make all the difference in hers. Why not help? He knew the answer. Because Anna had her pride. Because she would refuse. Because she would think she was being treated with pity. But what if she didn't know? What if he just did it without announcing it? James picked up the phone and called his accountant. "Mark, it's me. I need you to do something for me." It took 3 days. 3 days for the accountant to track down all the debts in Anna's name. Credit card, loans, overdue payments, everything. James looked at the numbers on the screen. They weren't astronomical to him. They were the equivalent of a few weeks' profit for his company. But for Anna, they were years of hardship. He transferred the amount, all at once. Everything paid off. Then he called the HR manager who handled payroll for the house staff. "I want to increase Anna's salary by 40%. "Mr. Walker, that's quite a lot. Is there a specific reason?" "There is. She deserves it. But for the records, we need a formal justification. The justification is that I'm the owner, and I decide how much I pay," James said firmly, but without harshness. "Increase her salary, starting next paycheck." "Yes, sir." James hung up and stared out the window. He wasn't going to tell her, not yet. He wanted her to find out on her own, in her own time. He wanted her to have a moment that was just for her, without having to say thank you, without having to explain what she was feeling. He just wanted her to breathe. Anna found out the following Friday. She had gone to the bank during her lunch break to pay the monthly installment on her credit card. She opened the app while waiting in line, accessed the statement, and felt the floor drop out from under her. 0 balance. She blinked, looked again, closed the app, opened it again. Still 0. Her heart started to beat faster. She got out of line, went to a corner and called the bank. "Good morning, I need to confirm some information about my account." "Of course, ma'am. What is your question?" "My credit card shows a 0 balance, but I still owed over $10,000. "One moment." The operator was silent for a few seconds. "Yes, ma'am. Your debt was paid in full last Tuesday." Anna felt her legs go weak. "Paid off?" "By whom?" "The payment was made via bank transfer. I don't have any more details than that, but I can confirm that the amount was received and your debt is cleared." "Are you sure?" "Yes, I am. It's all paid off." Anna hung up, her hands trembling. She opened the app for the other bank note where she had the personal loan, 0 balance. "No. It can't be." She called again. Same answer. Paid off. Tuesday. Bank transfer. Anna leaned against the bank wall, her legs weak, her heart racing. Someone had paid her debts, all of them, at once, and she only knew one person who could do that. Anna didn't go back to the mansion that day. She went straight home, picked Mia up from school, and made dinner on autopilot. Mia was talking Bassam, but Anna barely heard. She was processing, trying to understand. Why had he done this? She had told him about the debts in a conversation. She hadn't asked for help. She hadn't hinted at anything. She had only told him because he asked, sure, because he seemed genuinely interested in understanding her life. And now everything was paid. Everything. Anna put Mia to bed and sat on the balcony, looking at the empty street. She had to talk to him. She had to understand. She picked up her phone and sent a text. "I need to talk to you, tomorrow." The reply came quickly. "Of course, whenever you want." On Saturday morning, Anna left Mia with her grandmother and went to the mansion. She rang the bell at the main entrance, not the back one like she always did. James opened the door. Jeans, a grey shirt, barefoot. He looked younger like this, more approachable. "Anna, come in." She entered. The house was silent. It always was. "Want some coffee? I just made a pot." "No, I want to talk." James nodded and led her to the living room. They sat facing each other. Anna took a deep breath. "Did you pay off my debts?" James didn't look away. He didn't hesitate. Yes. The confirmation was simple, direct, no beating around the bush. Anna felt tears burn in her eyes, but she held them back. Why? Why did you do that? Because I could. That's not an answer. James leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Yes, it is. I could help, so I helped. James, this isn't a small thing. It's a lot of money, years of debt. I can't just accept this. You don't have to accept it. It's already done. Anna shook her head, her voice rising higher than she intended. Gabbett, I never asked. I never implied I wanted this. I know. Then why? James was silent for a moment. Then he stood up and walked to the window, hands in his pockets, looking out. You told me about the debts, about how you were still paying them off, even after all this time, about how hard it was to make ends meet every month. He turned to her. And I kept thinking, why does she have to carry this? Why does she have to pay for a choice that wasn't hers? Anna was quiet, listening. The guy left you pregnant, alone, full of debt, and still, you stayed. You took care of Mia. You worked until you were exhausted. You did everything right. He took a step toward her. And yet you were still being punished, every month, every year, paying for something that wasn't your responsibility. He stopped in front of her. No one should be punished for being strong, Anna. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Anna felt the tears overflow, streaming down her face uncontrollably. James, you deserve to breathe. You deserve not to wake up worried about whether you can pay the bills. You deserve to have peace. He knelt, getting to her level. And I had a way to give that to you. So I did. Anna covered her face with her hands, her shoulders shaking. She cried silently, all the pressure of years finally being released. James stood there, waiting. He didn't touch her. He didn't try to console her with empty words. He just waited. When Anna finally lowered her hands, her face was red, her eyes swollen. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. Yes, I do. She wiped the tears with the back of her hand. You have no idea what this means. I woke up every day with that weight, every single day. Thinking about how much was left, how long it would take if I would ever get out from under it. She looked at him, her voice breaking. And now there's nothing. It's all paid. I can breathe. James smiled gently. Then it was worth it. Anna stood up and, without thinking, hugged him. It was instinctive. She needed to thank him somehow, and words weren't enough. James was surprised for a second, his arms frozen in mid-air. But then he hugged her back, holding her carefully, as if afraid of breaking something precious. They stayed like that for a while. Anna cried softly against his chest, and James just held her, letting her feel everything she needed to feel. When Anna finally pulled away, she wiped her face again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You don't need to apologize. She gave a faint laugh. You raised my salary too. James made a guilty face. You found out. Of course I found out. 40% isn't a small amount. It was supposed to be a surprise. James, Anna shook her head, but she was smiling now. You're impossible. I've heard that before. She took a deep breath, trying to compose herself. Why are you doing all of this? Really? James looked at her for a long moment. There was something in his eyes, something deep and sincere. Because you two changed my life first, Anna blinked. So it what? You and Mia. He walked back to the sofa and sat down, his eyes fixed on her. I was living in this huge house, alone, with no one. I worked all day, came home to an empty house, slept, and repeated it all the next day. It was automatic, lifeless. He paused, and then you two appeared, not out of nowhere, of course. You had been working here for a long time, but I had never really paid attention, until that day I found you sleeping in the hallway. Anna remembered. It seemed like so long ago. And suddenly, I was buying a dress, going to a school party, having dinner in a small apartment, doing things I had never done before. He smiled. And for the first time in years, I felt alive again. Anna felt her heart tighten. You reminded me of what's important, of what really matters. It's not money, it's not work, It's not having a huge house. He looked around. It's having people. It's having a connection. It's having someone who cares if you made it home or not. He looked back at her. You and Mia gave me that, without asking for anything in return, without expecting anything. His voice grew softer. So when I paid your debts, it wasn't charity. It was gratitude, because you two changed my life first. Anna couldn't speak. The words were gone, so she just nodded, the tears returning. James stood up and walked over to her again. We help each other, Anna. That's how it works. You helped me without knowing it. Now I've helped you back. He smiled. And if you need help again, I'll be here. Anna looked at him, no longer seeing the distant boss, no longer seeing the rich and unreachable man. She saw a friend. She saw someone who cared. She saw someone who had chosen to be present. Thank you, was all she could say, but it carried everything she felt. You're welcome. They stood there, in the middle of the huge, silent living room. But the silence was no longer empty. It was full of promise, of presence, of trust. When Anna left the mansion that afternoon, the sun was beginning to set. She walked slowly to the bus stop, but this time she wasn't tired. She was light. For the first time in years, she had no debt. She didn't have that constant weight on her chest. She could look to the future without fear, and it was all thanks to him. She thought of James, of the way he had spoken, the way he had held her when she hugged him, the way he had said, "You two changed my life first." Her heart beat faster. This was getting more complicated, but at the same time, it seemed like the simplest thing in the world. James stood at the living room window, watching Anna walk away. She walked differently, lighter, as if an invisible weight had been lifted from her shoulders, and it had. He smiled to himself. Helping was strange. He had always given money to charities, to institutions, to causes, but he had never seen the impact up close. He had never seen someone's face when their life changed, and now that he had, he knew he wanted to see it again. Not for his ego, not to feel powerful, but because helping someone you care about changes you too. James went back to his office, but he couldn't work. He just kept thinking about Anna, about Mia, about how that house seemed less empty when he thought of them, and about how, for the first time in a long time, he had something to look forward to besides the next workday. He had friendship, he had connection, he had life, and that was worth more than all the money in the world. Summer had arrived. The days grew longer, the sun took longer to set, and the mansion's garden was in full bloom. Anna had brought Mia over to spend Saturday afternoon there. It wasn't strange anymore. It had become a habit. James was on the back porch, sitting in a wooden chair, watching Mia run across the lawn. She chased butterflies, her blonde hair shining in the sun, her laughter echoing through the garden. Anna was beside him, in a matching chair, barefoot, a glass of lemonade in her hand. "She never gets tired," Anna said, smiling. "Infinite energy." "I wish I had half of that," James smiled. They were silent for a moment, just watching. The sky was beginning to turn orange, the evening slowly approaching. "Thank you for letting her come," Anna said, looking at him. "She can come whenever she wants. You too." "I know, but thank you anyway." James nodded. Mia had found a flower and was running towards them, holding it like a trophy. Look what I found." Anna bent down to see. "It's so pretty, sweetie. Can I give it to Mr. Walker?" "Of course." Mia held the flower out to James. It was a simple daisy, a little crumpled, but she held it as if it were the most special thing in the world. "For you." James took the flower carefully. "Thank you, Mia. I'll keep it. For real. For real." She smiled and ran off again, back to the garden. Anna watched James carefully place the flower in his shirt pocket. "You don't have to actually keep it." "I know, but I want to." She smiled and went back to watching Mia. The sun sank lower. The sky turned pink, then purple, then began to darken. Mia finally got tired and came to sit in Anna's lap, resting her head on her mother's shoulder. "I'm sleepy." "Already?" "It's only 7. I ran a lot." Anna ran a hand through her daughter's hair, smoothing the messy strands. Want to go home? Mia shook her head. I want to stay a little longer. Okay. They stayed like that, Mia almost asleep, Anna holding her. James watched from a distance, that simple scene that seemed so complete. After a few minutes, Mia was fast asleep. Anna lifted her carefully. I'm going to put her on the sofa inside. Need help? No, it's okay, she's light. Anna went inside the house. James was left alone on the porch, looking at the now dark garden, illuminated only by the outdoor lights. Anna returned a few minutes later. She's out like a light. She really wore herself out. Anna sat down again, picked up her glass of lemonade, and took a sip. They were silent, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that exists between people who don't need to fill every second with words. The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of flowers. The cicadas chirped in the distance. It was one of those moments that was in no hurry to end. James, Can I ask you a question? Of course. Anna looked at him. Do you regret it? Helping us? Getting closer? James turned to her, surprised. Why would I regret it? Because we kind of invaded your life. You had a routine, you had your peace, and suddenly there's a child running in your garden and a cleaner sitting on your porch. James looked at her for a long moment. His eyes had something different now, something softer. Anna, you didn't invade my life. You gave it life. She blinked. What? Before you, I just existed. I woke up, worked, came home, slept. Repeated it the next day. There was nothing else. He looked at the garden. And now there's a child's laughter in the garden. There's dinner on the table. There's someone asking how my day was. He looked back at her. You reminded me of what's important. Anna tilted her head, her heart beating faster. What is? James smiled gently. Caring. The word hung in the air, laden with meaning. Caring about someone. Having someone who cares about you, not out of obligation, not out of self-interest, but because they want to. He paused. I had forgotten what that was like, and you reminded me. Anna felt her heart tighten. She didn't know what to say. Tears began to burn in her eyes. James continued, his voice low but firm. I spent years building a life that looked perfect on the outside. Big house, money, success. But inside, it was empty. Completely empty. He looked at his own hands. And then you two appeared. With a yellow dress, a simple dinner, conversations on the porch, and suddenly I felt alive again. He looked up. So no, Anna. I don't regret it. Not one bit. You two are the best thing that's happened to my life in a very long time. Anna wiped away the tears that were starting to form, laughing softly. You always know what to say. Not always, but today I do. They fell silent again. The wind was blowing stronger now, but it was pleasant. Inside, Mia slept on the sofa, covered with a blanket James had placed over her. Anna looked at her own hands, hands that worked so hard, that carried so much weight. But now, for the first time in years, they were resting. You know, she began slowly. I care too. James looked at her. I know. No, I mean... She took a deep breath. I really care. About you, about what you're feeling, about whether you're okay or not. The words came out more vulnerable than she intended. You've become important to me, James. I don't know when it happened, but it happened. James smiled, that gentle smile she had learned to recognize. You're important to me, too. Really. Very. Anna felt something release inside her. Something that had been trapped for a long time. This is scary, she admitted. It is, but it's also good. It is. They looked at each other, unhurried, unafraid, just letting that moment exist. James reached out his hand, slowly, and Anna took it. Their fingers intertwined naturally, as if they had always fit together that way. They stayed like that for a while, holding hands, looking at the garden, listening to the sound of the cicadas and the wind in the trees. They didn't need words now. They just needed to be there, together. Half an hour later, Anna gently woke Mia. The girl grumbled but got up, still sleepy. James offered them a ride and they accepted. The drive was quiet. Mia slept in the back seat and Anna looked out the window. When they arrived at the building, James turned off the engine. Anna, yes, thank you. She turned to him. For what? For letting me be a part of your lives. Anna smiled. Thank you for wanting to be a part of it. They looked at each other for a moment. Then Anna leaned in and kissed his cheek, softly, quickly. Good night, James. He sat there, surprised, his hand instinctively rising to touch where she had kissed him. Good night. Anna got out and picked Mia up in her arms. James waited until she was inside the building before driving away. Inside the apartment, Anna put Mia in bed and tucked her in. She watched for a moment, her heart calm. Life wasn't perfect. There were still challenges, there were still hard days, but there was something she didn't have before. Hope. And maybe, just maybe, something more. Something that was growing slowly, in the small gestures, the quiet conversations, the comfortable silences, something that felt like a new beginning. Anna touched her own lips, remembering the kiss on his cheek. It had been impulsive, but it felt right, and from his expression, it had been welcome. She smiled to herself and went to her room. James arrived at the mansion and stood in the garden for a moment. He touched his cheek again where her lips had been. Something was changing. He could feel it. It was no longer just friendship. It was no longer just gratitude. It was something deeper, something he hadn't felt in years. And it was scary. But at the same time, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. James went inside, up to his room, and put the flower in a glass of water on his nightstand. It was nothing special, just a simple daisy a child had given him. But it meant everything, because it meant someone had thought of him, that someone cared, and in the end, that's all that mattered. That night, in 2 different places, 2 people slept in peace. Anna in the small apartment, Mia beside her, her heart light and hopeful. James in the large mansion, alone but not lonely, the flower beside his bed, her touch still burning softly on his skin. And outside, the world kept turning. But for them, something had changed. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't explosive. It was simple, human, discreet. It was the promise of possible new beginnings, of better days, of sincere smiles, of hands that meet and hearts at peace, of a child's laughter running through the garden, of dinners at a small table, of conversations under the setting sun, of caring, truly caring, and maybe, in the future, of something more. But for now, this was enough, because in the end, what really mattered was this: caring. And they had learned together. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.